Okay, well, in response to helping our instructors become better prepared to teach in a classroom, we are now having instructors continue with their training through the MA instructor training course. There will be a training course for each of the other programs that will mirror this one. This way, instructors can concentrate on just a program that they need to teach and not have to try to sift through all the other programs and that information. So the MA one is, the MA training is the first course that has been completed. So we thought we'd go over the training, what instructors will be required to do, how the certificates will be earned, and how to upload that information where our instructors can prove their training is completed and they can get their bonuses. Okay, so when you first, how do you get into the course? Instructors will be manually added to the instructor training course. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do that yet. I think that the instructors will either be uploaded by their regional campus director, which I think is probably the best way to do it, or program chair or Sharon can do it for sure. But they do have to be manually added. It's not like being added to a course they're going to be teaching in Canvas. So once they're added, I think it's a good idea to add them as soon after they get their access to the Ross curriculum site. Maybe we can do it at the same time. Okay, so once they're added, they will accept a tile just like they would any other course. If they're brand new instructors, which probably most of them are, and they do not have access to or haven't been added to any of the courses in the Ross campus yet, they'll have to create an account and a login. So this is what it'll look like. So it'll say MA or MyBOA or whatever program that they're going to be teaching. This will be their course. They'll click on that. And then they'll go to the welcome screen. And the welcome screen will help give them an idea of what we're going to expect from them as instructors for our students. So once they read through that they're part of a core team, and then what we saw in them, that we know that they can do this job well, and then what we expect them to do once they're instructors and they're going to enter into the course. So it tells them to click on the module section. So they get into the module section, and then the first thing they're going to do is just follow the course down. They're going to click on the new instructor training basics, and everything that they need to start as a new instructor is going to be in here. So the first thing we thought we'd start out with is the ABHES data faculty sheet. So what is ABHES? Is Ross Medical Education accredited, and what is ABHES? Because I found a lot of our instructors are brand new, they don't even know what ABHES is. I've added a download for the faculty data sheet, and I am aware that a lot of campuses will take care of this for their instructors and update it as they go, but I think it's always a good idea for the instructor to know what it looks like and what data is kept on that sheet. If they are participating in a campus where they do have to take care of their own faculty data sheet, then it's easy for them to get the sheet here, download it, fill it out, and then continue to update it and save it and send it to whoever is responsible at the campus for collecting that. And I did put in here that it's always good for them to contact their supervisor to find out how their campus is monitoring and taking care of the ABHES faculty data sheet. So then the next section would be for them to get familiar with the Ross curriculum website. So there's a link to the website here, and then what's the purpose, what would they find on the website, and then there's a video on how to use the Ross curriculum website. From there they move to their Elsevier Evolve account setup and resources. So before they begin teaching, they need to set up their Elsevier Evolve account. So this is step-by-step directions on how to set up their Elsevier account, and then directions on how to add their instructor resources once their account is up and going. After that, they move to the Master Teacher course. They're still going to have to contact Alicia Kirk to have that uploaded onto their Elsevier Revolve account. And then it goes over the course outline and what they're going to have to accomplish. And then after that, that they have to print out the certificates at the end of every module, and that they have to make sure that they provide these certificates to their supervisor at the campus, and just helping them get through that Master Teacher course. After that, they move to the Vital Source bookshelf, and they get directions and a link on how to set up the Vital Source bookshelf. We have a little video on how to use a Vital Source bookshelf. And then I added the textbooks for the medical assisting program. I'll probably be taking the MyBOA textbooks out. They won't need those. Not in the MA training anyway. After that, they move to the virtual library. I find that a lot of our instructors don't realize it's called the Gale Academic One Virtual Library. So trying to use that verbiage so that they'll recognize that if they hear virtual library. And then again, same thing, links, how to get on the virtual library, watching a video on how to use a virtual library. And once they finish that, then they go to the SurveyMonkey link. They can answer the questions and then go about getting their certificate for completion of the training. Then we move on to Stericycle, the bloodborne pathogens and the HAZCOM training. A link to the Stericycle with, and then directions on how to set up an account and then how to get their training completed. From the Stericycle, we move to the emergency preparedness training. Emergency preparedness training is completed through a link with Human Services. So hopefully this will help get them started with that. Then we move from there to how to order supplies. There is a video on how to order supplies and how to use the Ross McKesson order sheets. And then I added a program list of what that is in the medical assistant classroom, what to look for. And then what to do if something breaks down or it needs to be serviced, how to go about doing that. And then a nice reminder that they need to be responsible for the equipment in their classrooms, make sure that it is put away properly and locked up and safe. From there, we move to the CEU and in-service requirements. Explains how the requirement, well, what we expect from them and how to get their CEU and in-services. So here are a whole bunch of free websites and links on how to obtain those. And as I always look at this training as a living kind of document where if we do need to make changes and somehow we decide that there's going to be additional in-services or additional CEUs, we can easily amend them here and keep everybody up to date. After CEU and in-services, there's a grading policy. There is a download for the grading policy that's also on the Ross curriculum site. And then they have to take a grading policy quiz. And we want to make sure that our instructors knew the grading policy so that we're all staying consistent. And the quiz is not very hard, so we can do a quick little edit here and take a peek. So here are some abbreviations for new instructors. They may not know what ICA or ROW means. And then I have them actually looking at how to grade a, see if I can get to it and show you. Oh, here we go. Here's a question on how to actually grade a paper. So once they look at it, says, using the information you know from the Ross grading policy, determine the grade for the document in the link below. So all the red are the incorrect answers that a student would have recorded. Then they will grade it and then hopefully choose 75%. Then here's another one, to download an assignment that was turned in and then grade it, and hopefully they come up with the right answer. So I thought it was important not to just talk about the grading policy, but also kind of get an idea of what their knowledge base is on how to grade work. Okay, so from there we go to the sim chart for setup and grading. Talk about what sim chart is, how to download the documents. They are going to watch a video on how to complete and use the sim chart, and then the grading instructions for sim chart. And encourage them to get into the sim chart playground and become aware of what the students are going to experience so they can answer questions. Then we have the same with SurePath, how to set up SurePath in Canvas with step-by-step directions, what SurePath is. And then we move on to the SimTech simulations for the MA. What is SimTech? Getting familiar with the simulator and the simulator. And then they have a tutorial video on how to use SimTex. Later in the training course, you'll see where we've actually embedded the SimTex simulations for the instructors to actually work through on their own before the students are introduced to them. And then we have our mid-module advising section. So what the purpose of the mid-module advising is, when should mid-module advising take place, and then we have the mid-module advising document that they'll be using with their students. And I've tried to, in most of these, as much as possible, refer them back to their campus supervision for help. The next part is a program assessment. And why do we have to have one? When does it take place? Where can they find the day in the office scenarios? And if they can make up their own. Then we've included the instructor observation for both the residential instructors as well as a hybrid faculty observation. Why do we have to have it? What happens if they didn't get a really good observation? And then what the observations include, and then how often are they going to be evaluated. So they'll be prepared, hopefully not as nervous, and understand that it's a tool for helping them become better instructors and not as a punishment. We don't want them to feel that way. Then faculty meetings. When do the faculty meetings take place? What's the purpose of them, and what is their responsibility as an instructor at Ross as far as faculty meetings go. And I've attached a faculty recommendation form so they will get an idea on how important that is and how to fill that out. From there, we go into the student certification. I put in their role in helping students become certified, and then the AMT campus organization numbers that go along with their campus so they can help their students get set up for their exam once they're completed with the program. From there, we move on to career services. This is the only spot that I really haven't had. It's probably going to have a little bit more work because I need a little bit more input from career services, but hopefully this is enough to get us started. So I took their mission statement off of their training platform, and then who they are. A lot of our instructors don't even know what career services does for students and what is their role in helping career services. So how do I support career services? I found in the past that instructors sometimes have a little pushback with career services, and I think that is unfortunate especially because our students need to see that we're a united front. And I'm hoping that we kind of fix that right at the beginning of our instructor's career so they know how to support career services and work together as a team. So we will probably be adding a lot more information. My goal is hopefully to have a video embedded in here from career services introducing themselves and what they do. So then we have a section on how do I get help? So what happens if this is a curriculum attendance or grading question? Where do I go? Who do I get help from? If it's an Elsevier problem, who do I contact? And then the Zendesk directions, and then on how to get servicing of it done. From here we move on into completion of new instructor basic section acknowledgement. They're going to have a form that they're going to download and sign electronically, and then re-upload to the section so that we know that they have gone through these sections and they understand the information that they've read so far. And if they don't, that they get all their questions answered by either myself or somebody at the campus. So that'll be proof of this section. And then we move on into the Canvas course shell. So I think we take a little break here and see how many questions we have. So Sharon, I'm sure we have a few.
I'm saying, wow, this is fabulous. Thanks so much. The one was, when is this starting, and should we be adding instructors that have started in the past month or just going forward? So yes, I know as of the end of last week, Jennifer started adding instructors to the course. Like she said, this is definitely a work in progress.
Mute your freaking thing.
What's that? You guys, I don't think they're on mute, Jen.
Okay.
So anyway, what we're trying to do is take this in conjunction with our faculty training manual, the one that, you know, that we've been using, and to have a mirror image so that when you're training a new faculty member, you can have that faculty training manual and know that everything that you need to walk that instructor through when it comes to curriculum and instruction in training, not so much the onboarding, will all be right here in this Canvas shell. So you don't have to be sending them out to numerous sites. And that is our goal. Spearheaded this, and the goal is to bring the other programs with this. And a lot of this material that we're going through today definitely encompasses all of our instructors in all the hybrid and residential programs. All right. So somebody said, so this is new for instructors. Absolutely. Jen's been working on this for the last month or so and just actually did some finalization. And as she said, it is work in progress, but it is going to be replacing what you're currently using. Some of us are still using the Elsevier training that we did. You know how instructors would work through each month, they answer questions and get a certificate at the end. This is now going to be in conjunction with how we moved over to the Ross Canvas, and everything will be in this shell. I think that's all that we have going on, Jen. Any other questions that anybody has want to put in the chat?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so then we're on to our next section. That would be helping our new instructors prepare Canvas for a module start. So just like the other section, they're going to have to click on each one of these in order to move forward. So the first thing they'll run into is the Canvas course shell. Talks about we have our own Canvas, and here's our link to the Ross Canvas. And then how do they get into Canvas? And then there's a little video on capabilities of Canvas, what it does. From there, we talk about discussions and how important discussions are. There's a download for them on the benefits of the discussion forum. And then their responsibility as far as discussions go in the classroom. how to grade discussions, and then there's a discussion rubric for them to download. I know that they're also in the Canvas shells, but thought it'd be nice just to have it there in case they had a question ahead of time. And again, on telling them they need to contact their supervisor and add them to how to lead a discussion course, The Heart of Online Learning, that Sharon had set up for all of our instructors in the fall. So we'd like to keep that going and have them participate in that, because we all know how important this piece is to not just our shell, but our programs. From there, they move into the Speed Grader. What is Speed Grader, and then how to use Speed Grader. And then, oh, I don't want to get back in that. And then they can look at individual student grades or review students.
Hey everybody, we are live.
Sorry. Okay, then we have creating student sections on how to make those sections and name them in the Canvas shells. And then how to add students and staff to the Canvas sections. I know that there's a lot of, there are some campuses that like to use the sections more than others. They are valuable. Assigning work in Canvas, how to assign work and how to make sure that students can keep all their assignments in line and they have no worries about turning in late work. Then how to review a test in Canvas. So after a test is given, how do we review that? I know this is mainly for our residential instructors. There are step-by-step directions on how to do that. Then we have how to gain access to the instructor module setup course. And most everybody's familiar with that course now. And then a little instructor course overview video. And then there's a quiz that they have to take on how to set up Canvas. Hopefully they read through it and they downloaded all of the documents they were asked to download and actually put a little effort into learning about ROS Canvas. By the way, any of these graded quizzes, they have to get a 90% to move on. They don't get a 90%, then they're going to have to go back into the section and read and take the quiz over again until they get that 90%. And then we have notes for instructors. So these are taken out of the lesson plan and then made to look a little bit better here in the training course. So about the ICAs and how to add students as patients, the SIM chart, and just a little bit more information for them. And then curriculum presentation and classroom management. Again, this was taken from the lesson plan. So I think sometimes it's a little overwhelming with those big, long lesson plans. So if we could just at least pinpoint the importance of this section of it, they may get a little bit more out of it than skipping through it on the lesson plan. And then student work. How is curriculum determined? And that life is unpredictable, and sometimes you have to make some adjustments. Just recently, we've been going through more and more adjustments with all the times that we live in. And then what can they do to help make class a little bit easier or a little smoother for their students? So what can they change and what can they change? So this is unacceptable. They can't change tests, quizzes, the wording or the time on the test or quizzes. Instructors will not add graded work to the curriculum, and changes to work that is required for proficiency cannot be changed. But these are the things they can do to help with time in the class. And then what do I need to do to make a change to an assignment? So they've figured out, okay, I have to make an adjustment. We had a time constraint this month. So how do I go about doing that? So they're going to, and this is a new form, they're going to request an assignment change. So once they download the form, it's a fillable PDF. This is what it looks like. So they're going to put their program down, and then the module, and then their date, the Canvas course name and the Canvas course number, and then the assignment name. So what is it? Assignment 1-1. I've made little little pop-ups so that if they have a question, it'll pop up and help them. And then they have to be detailed on the reason for the change into the assignment. And then requested change to assignment. They're going to give details on how they're going to alter the assignment. Maybe give all but the outline for an assignment. How do they want to change it? And then their supervisor is going to come into play here. And then was it approved or not approved? And this has got a couple reasons behind it. This way, the campus director, the campus supervision knows what's being changed and why it's being changed, and they're going to agree to that change. So when they are looking in a Canvas shell, if they find that students are not completing the whole assignment, they know why, what happened there. It's not just not completed by the students. Now, I don't expect this to be kept in a binder or anything, but I do think it would be a good idea to keep it electronically, maybe in our Google Drive for the campus. So if you'd like to make a folder. And then if there is an audit down the road and the auditor says, hey, you know, they were supposed to do 50 questions and they did 30, you have documentation to back up why it was changed and that it was approved. Now notice I'm not on here anywhere. I don't know if Sharon wants to be added to this. She may. We'll definitely let you know if there's a change. It'll be made on the form as well. Sharon, did you want to, are there any questions so far?
Basically, Jen, yeah, that form is really good, and that's something I really want to review also with Ryan and the executive team in regards to the changes. You know, I think we're talking about in, you know, extreme circumstances, and I know some of our circumstances right now are you know, there's more than not due to COVID and some of the, you know, Michigan laws or certain laws that are changing a bit. So we'll talk about that. But in coming in the chat, just individuals asking, you know, when will this is just for new instructors. And so basically, yes, this is for our new instructors. If your instructors have already gone through the training that they did with Elsevier and it's all documented, great. But if they haven't, if they have voids in Taleo where they missed certain training, this is where everybody will be going from this point on, especially with the MA. Like I said, this is very new. We didn't want to wait in a month from now and to get it out to you. We wanted to have you to have the most current information that we have right now. But the other programs will be developing this as well, which will have a lot of similarities. So I know I'm repeating myself, but I just want to make sure that if you have a brand new MA instructor that is starting or has just started maybe within the last week, I would definitely get them in this Canvas shell. This is where they'll get all the tools that they need. A lot of the other information, as we all know, has been outdated.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I'm definitely not advocating that we have instructors just willy-nilly making changes to assignments and things, but in the case that we absolutely have to, at least we have some documentation to show if it has to be changed.
Correct. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Okay, so the next section I have our common questions section. So these are the questions that I run across the most. I'm sure we'll be adding more to this as we go, but I can't find an instructor key. What do? The assignment test is blocked. The Gale Academic One virtual library is asking for a password. What was it? Hopefully they know because they were supposed to do the virtual library training, but you know, sometimes it pops up, they forget. My student is being asked to provide a code for books or resources. SimChart SurePass not loading. Students cannot see SimChart cases. I can't see my student in the SimChart gradebook, and SurePath isn't working or it's missing information. So hopefully this will help. So when they click on these, then they're going to get an answer. Okay, these are the things that you need to double check or look into to remedy and try to get the information. Like I said, I know that we're going to be adding more to that as we go, but at least I wanted somewhere where there was a quick answer instead of having to wait for an email back. Okay, so after that section, then we go to before completing the module training. We thought we'd give them some guidelines on when to do this. Because we were finding in the past that brand new instructors were going into Elsevier and they were completing all the training in a week or two for the whole program. And then 6 months later, when they come to teach that module, they've forgotten what they went over. So in order to help that, we'd like them to have access to the training. But sure that the module or quiz is not completed any more than a month before the modules start for a new instructor. So I figure it gives them time to get in here and go through all the lessons, and go through the courses, build their lectures and become prepared. And then they'll have time to take that quiz, but not taking the quiz so far in advance that they forget what they're going to be teaching when they get in the classroom. So then we put instructors are required to complete the training for the side of the program they are teaching unless instructed otherwise by their supervisor. So we don't want them to feel overwhelmed that they see 6 mods and all this work to do and that they have to do both sides. They really just need to concentrate on the side that they're going to be teaching. But they also have access to the other side if they so want to dabble in and look at it and complete the work. Okay, so then we broke it down by module. So all the modules are broken down the same. So for example, for module 1, they have an introduction. Now the introduction to the module just tells them the courses that are in the module and the chapters that they'll be teaching and the proficiencies that students will be completing for that module. Again, this is very similar to the lesson plan. Then they have course video trainings. I made a course video training for each course that they're going to be teaching. Instead of one video encompassing everything, thought it would be nice to just break it down by course. So they can just in here and watch just about the anatomy and physiology course, or just about medical surgical sepsis. So I'll save them a little. Well, after they've watched the video trainings, then, sorry, I don't want to make everyone dizzy. Then they move on into the quizzes. So if they're an administrative instructor, they're going to have to go in and take the MA Administrative Module 1 quiz. Now this quiz is going to go over everything in the lesson plan, the videos, and the books that they're going to be using. So it may ask them a question, which Ross Edge section are you going to be teaching in this course, in this module? Or what website did the lesson plan direct students to play a game on while they're learning about the respiratory system? So they're not super hard, but they're not going to be the easy ones that they had to take when they had that Elsevier quiz. So they each quiz has 15 to 20 questions about the module, and they have to score a 90 in order to get their certificate for that module. Now, yes, they can go back in and they can take the test over and over and over again, obviously, but we wanted to make sure that they were aware and they knew what they were doing. So once they've completed that quiz, we are going to have a quiz grade. And we're going to be able to then get a certificate out for that campus to upload and to lay out for them. So we have proof that they completed their training. Now, if they don't do this, then they're not going to be able to move on to another module. They have to pass it in order to move on to another module. So, and there's also prerequisites. So before they can even do any of the module training, they have to successfully completed the new instructor basic section of this and the preparing Canvas section of this. So that's how the modules are going to go. For the clinic side, there's one additional thing. They have the syntax simulations. And instructors do not have to sign up for syntax. Once they log on and are accepted into this course, they automatically have sign-on access. So what they would do is they come in here, click on the hand hygiene, click on, and then it'll take them right into syntax to work through all of the information that the students are working through. Definitely wanted to make sure that they were aware of the syntax and that they had actually worked through the syntax themselves so they could help students when it came to them having to ask questions. They were able to answer them and how to work through the course. So here's our next one. All right, so I think that pretty much covers the MA training. Sharon, do we have any questions yet?
Sure. So Jen, we have a lot of interest in individuals asking, can their current instructors, you know, be required to do this? And I highly recommend that every instructor should be in here doing it. Now, if they've already done their initial training, we can't mandate it. But this is a great resource. So you have an instructor who's struggling in a certain area, maybe it's in discussion. You know, you'll see as you get back from the faculty evaluations that this is an area of opportunity. This is a really great way to send that individual to that specific task, whatever it is that they need refreshing on or training on, and then you can document that they've been in there doing that training. It's a great tool for that. And anybody, you can, like I said, ask any of your staff to go on in and do this. Now, somebody had asked about it being an in-service for seasoned instructors. An in-service has to do with teaching methodologies. This is actual specific training for our courses. So I would not recommend this as an in-service. An in-service would be hopefully some course outside that would be on instructional methods, okay? But this is actual training within our curriculum. So in my eyes, I do not believe ABHES would allow this. It's part of our instructor training, okay? And that's about it. It's just individuals asking about, oh, I think somebody asked too, so if my instructor starts on Mod 5, do they go into Mod 5? So yeah, you're gonna start on the material that instructor is going to be starting with, and we're going to open it up a month so they have at least a good month. Didn't we set it for a month, Jen? I think that they'd have a month and be that material would be available for them 30 days before they start teaching.
Sure. So I know that we have campuses that are in different modules at different times. So the module training is always open. But it's going to be up to the campus supervision to make sure that they do not take that test. They can prove that test, because the test, once they complete it, just like a student, has a date and time stamp on it. That test isn't done more than a month in advance before they have to begin the course. So yeah, if you have somebody who's starting Mod 5, the only prerequisite they're going to have is to make sure that they finish the new instructor basics and the preparing for Canvas module start. They have to complete those sections and the potential challenges section before they can get into any of the single module training. So once they've done that, they can choose whatever module they need to go in and train for.
Right, and that needs to be completed before they start into the classroom. So what Jen was just speaking about, and then whatever module they're going into, okay? And then as they go through, they teach whatever module they're currently in, then they'll do the same as they start training for the next module, where they're going with that specific module training, okay?
So Sharon, I know that we kind of hinted about who is going to be adding instructors to the training course. And I don't think that we need to have a whole bunch of people with teacher access in this. I'd like to just keep teacher access to the regional campus directors to add new instructors to it.
Yeah, and I can back that up as well, Jen, because I'll tell you why. You have, sorry, my other phone is going off. You have so many individuals in the shell. It gets really, really hard to manage after a while. And so I think what Jen will probably do after a while is we have so many instructors in it, she'll just copy the course over and rename it as time goes on. And so if we can have just the RCDs, and if they can't do it, you can always email myself, you can email the program chair, Jen, whomever, and we'll get those instructors in. It's give us 10 minutes, hopefully, and we'll be able to do it quickly, okay? And I like when Jen said about, when you're adding for curriculum access, we can definitely add them at the same time, as long as we have their Ross emails, okay?
Yep. So we do have a couple instructors that have already been added to the course, so that we have 2 instructors. Now, when we add people to the course, they're going to be students, of course, not instructors. Although they're instructors, they're going to be added to the course as students so that we can keep track of all the work that they've done. So, and the speed grader is going to tell us when they've completed work, and again, their access if they were a student. So we'll be able to keep track of the hours that they've spent in a course.
Yeah, and the great thing is you've got all your documentation right here. And, that Jen added the Simtex training, which is so important right now when it comes to simulations. And that was kind of a foresight for us, because I believe that as things start to evolve with accreditation and down the road, they want to see, number one, that our teachers are trained on the Simtex. And so that's another reason why we added that piece, is to be able to show that here's your training, and we can document that the instructors have been trained on utilizing simulations. So we're trying to think really down the road for everyone.
So it looks like we had a couple more questions. Says, will this replace completion of all the row, ICA tests, etc. for each module for instructors? I think you should always encourage your instructors to do all the ICA, the tests in the row on their own. It just prepares them for class. But no, I'm not requiring that they have to do all of those. But they do, to pass that test here in the training, they're going to have to go through those anyway and make themselves knowledgeable what's in there. Otherwise, they're not going to get that 90%. They need to move on.
And then the other one, what needs to be uploaded into Leo? Any of the training documents will need to be uploaded into Leo. So where you have a quiz and then you get a certificate, those will need to be uploaded into Leo.
And we'll be able to see when they've successfully passed that test, and we'll be able to see the date and time that they passed that training. So once we see that, then we'll be able to generate a certificate from our end over here for them, and then that can be uploaded into Leo.
All right, any other questions?
Oh, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. So like we said, this is work in progress, and thank you, Jennifer, so much. A lot of kudos in the chat for creating this one unified place for our instructors to be trained. And then as Jen and I are also working, like I said, on the training manual document. And once that is completed, we will be doing training again. And I do believe in the first week in January, what you're seeing here today, plus we will have more information, is going to be coming out the first week of January.
Sure.
So if there's nothing else, thank you so much, Jennifer. Awesome document, and thank you everybody for joining us today.
If you need anyone added, just email me via Ross email and we'll put them in. All right, thank you everyone. Bye-bye.